Welcome to the Jungion, Wentworth Park, home of Clarenece United. Their first home game in the top flight today up against the might of Hobart Jeep Zebras. I'm Damien Gill from FFT, bringing this one live to you with the ever-reliable Drewster Rooster, Andrew Cooling, by my side. Drewy, it's lovely to be over the sunny side of the river at Wentworth Park.
Yeah, always good to be on the superior side of the river here, Gilly. It's certainly an exciting day for Clarenece United, their first home game in the PS4 NPL Tasmania. Looking forward to this one. It's going to be a tough test for them today up against a pretty impressive Hobart Zebras lineup. They're 2-0 to start the season. They've been bounced out of the Cup on Monday by South Hobart, but I suppose that's one less competition for them now that they're in, and that puts all the more pressure on them in the league, Gilly.
I was about to say you were really taking a positive from a negative there, saying it was one less competition to get in their way, but geez, I know Chris Hay was absolutely filthy with bowing out of the Lacazette Cup on Monday, and they'll be looking to really put in a good shift today up against Clarenece United, who, it has to be said, will be full of confidence after their first win in the NPL last week. It was a big win up against Northern Rangers 5-3, so they'll be full of beans and ready to start their home account in winning ways. We'll have a look at the lineups in a little while, but I'm interested to get your thoughts, Drewster, on how you think this one will play out. Of course, it's a very, very special occasion that brings us here today. Not only is it a round 3 NPL clash, it's also the Luke Cripps Memorial Shield, of course, who was Luke Cripps, who was passed away a few years ago, played for Clarenece United and Hobart Jeep Zebras. In the thoughts of both these clubs, he was a legend and a stalwart of Clarenece United and spent some time at the Zebras, and he'll be very much in both teams' thoughts as they go out there today and play for the Luke Cripps Memorial Shield.
Yeah, look, I did an article on it yesterday. I spoke to a few people who played with Luke at the time. Overwhelmingly, the people spoke of just an amazing guy, both on and off the field, and his loss really rocked the Tasmanian footballing community. 4 years on, I think many are still reeling for it. So a big occasion to play a game in Luke's honour, and I'm sure both teams will be going out there and using that as motivation to try and play the absolute best. Certainly a really big extra element to what is already a very important clash, especially for Clarenece here, their first home game at the Jungion, as it's been labelled, and the wind flying in off those dunes, and that could lead to maybe a slightly uglier game. The surface though looks pretty good. It was playing pretty well in the reserves, so there's not going to be too much bobbling of the ball, I wouldn't have thought, not comparatively with what we've seen Wentworth like the middle of winter in previous years. So it's a pretty good surface for playing. At the moment, clear conditions, a bit of wind out there, which might affect a few of the long balls, and I think we'll see probably a bit more of that from Clarenece than we will Zebras, but should be an entertaining affair. You'd expect Zebras are going to monopolise the ball for large parts. But Clarenece showed last week that they've got a bit of attacking flair. They Nick Naden in particular, really outstanding. A couple of goals for him last week. Andrew Robb on the right wing. They've got a couple of players that can do it offensively, so I'd imagine they'll sit back fairly defensively and look to try and hit Zebras on the counter. But if they take them lightly, then they're going to need to watch out.
Of course, Clarenece, under no illusions, they've still got a lot of work to do, although they have recorded their first victory. Alan Jablonski straight back on it this week, saying they've got work to do. They've got to just make gradual improvement and keep on fighting. But today's a big day for them on a pitch that's looking very, very good. It's looking a picture, pardon the pun. But I know Clarenece United, of course, first year in the top flight, there was a lot of nervousness and a lot of excitement around what the NPL would bring to the club, and you can see here today, strolling through the gates, Drewster, that they're really up for the NPL competition, and the club looks in really good health.
Yeah, very, very positive atmosphere here at Clarenece. Obviously went through a pretty couple of tough years after missing out on the Victory League initially, but back up here in the PS4 NPL Tas. They're very excited. This is a proud club, and this is a big occasion for them. Their return to action at Wentworth Park. There's certainly an upbeat mood here at the ground, you'd have to say. The reserves have just gone up 2-0, which is a bit of a surprise to some. But
it's a turn up for the Books. They were dead last coming into this, so that's a really good win for the Challenge League side up against the Zebras. So, but it's all about the Luke Cripps Memorial Shield today between Clarenece United, who are at home, up against Hobart Jeep Zebras. A few former Clarence players in the Hobart Zebras lineup, notably Luke Huigsloot and Matthias Toghill. Big game for those two players today. We'll go through the lineup, Strooster, as I just get them out to have a squiz. Clarence United, of course, starting with the hosts. Ben Aitken, Jared Bugg, Matthew Dyson in between the sticks, or as I call him, the vacuum. George Hallard, Lachlan Hardwick, Rich Heath, Adam Hedge, Henry Lush, Nick Naden, who you spoke about before, had a really good game up against the Rangers. Some terrific goals, especially the last one where he ran from almost halfway to score a superb solo effort. And then we have Jeremy Price, who will don the captain's armband, Andrew Robb, who also was terrific last week. On the bench for the Reds, Josh Burgess, Grant Malcolm, of course a former Zebra, so a bit going on there as well. Julian McMahon on the bench as well, which is a good addition to their bench for sure. An experienced player, wealth of experience, and it'll be an emotional day for him. Of course, a close friend of Luke Cripps. Alex Dand also on the bench if they do need a reserve gloveman. On to the Zebras, Drewster.
We've got Kurt Engels, number 11, their left winger, an absolute star of the competition. He'll lead the side. We know he's going to be an absolute key, although we might just go with the formation rather than down the team sheet. So starting at goals will be Alex Woodham. He's obviously coming. Graham Wright on his way to the club will be there supposedly next week, along with Tyler Harrison, Chris Hay flag. So a couple of handy imports coming, which will certainly mean that Woodham will want to be putting in a good performance today. The fullbacks, Matthias Toghill. Obviously a big day for him, also a close friend of Cripps and a former Clarence player. Really emotional occasion for Toghill. We know he's going to be determined to put in a big performance, and the big Dwayne Pipe, another one who's played for both clubs. Quite a bit of that in these team lineups today. Dwayne Walsh will be playing his customary fullback role. The centre backs will be Henry Moody and Henry Fag, Henry Squared as we refer to them. Pretty solid pairing. They were tested at times against Launceston City, but held out pretty well, and perhaps a little bit unlucky about the goal they did concede. Just a hint of a handball in the build up to that one. They stopped, play the whistle as they say, but they've looked pretty good to start the season there, and if Tyler Harrison does come back, it's going to be a pretty impressive battery of centre halves that they do have at their disposal. In the mid, you got something, Gilly?
No, all good.
Callum Griffin will probably be the man in midfield to play that role that Jaden Hay normally does. Obviously a big loss there, but the good news for Hay is it's not a long-term injury. It looked really bad for him last week when he went down clutching at that knee, but we're told he's hoping to be back for the Lions game. So good news on that front. He'll be partnered in midfield by Jordan Muller, very reliable player in that number 6 role. Really good range of passes, very solid player, very underrated Jordan Muller, we say it every week. And number 15, James Sherman, who's been reinvented a bit as a defensive midfielder and has looked very comfortable there. Played in a more attacking role last year, but real fierce competitor, and has added some real steel to that Zebras midfield. On the flanks, Kurt Engels, as we've said, will play down the left. Michael Morano left out of the team sheet, perhaps somewhat surprising. He's probably struggled for a little bit of form in his first 2 weeks, so a message to him, he's on the bench. Instead, starting on the right will be Adam McKeown, and centrally Luke Huigsloot, the big powerhouse up top. He started the season in pretty handy form, was slightly unlucky to have a goal flagged off last week and scored a hat-trick on his debut. On the bench, Sam Conway, the New South Welshman, a big signing. He's being eased into things, coming back from injury. Matthew Ferguson, the backup keeper. Morano, as we said, Paul Palmer and Jake Stewart. A pretty formidable looking lineup there, Gilly.
A formidable looking lineup indeed, as we see the two teams prepare to line up. Clarence ready to go, ready and raring to go as people stream through the gates here at Wentworth Park. A good crowd building. They've really done some work here. A permanent fence around the pitch, and we've got stands everywhere. It's a tremendous occasion, and really looking forward to what the game itself brings. Zebras, you'd have to say, would be highly fancied, but Clarence United show last week that they're a good side. on their day. And I think maybe they found some of that goal threat they'd been missing in recent times. Needless to say, their recent meetings doesn't paint a pretty picture for the Reds, but I think we'll see a better United out there today. My tip, Zebras 3-1.
Yeah, look, a tough one. Obviously, a fairly emotional game today with the Cribs Shield. It's probably going to add a little bit for Clarence. That might just add something for them. How will the players handle the occasion will be interesting to see. I'm probably with you. I think the Zebras have got a bit too much, but it's such a big occasion at home. I'm going to say it's going to be 2-1 to Zebras in a tight one.
2-1 to Zebras. We're both in a pretty similar sort of camp here. We think goals each way. We're not far away from a kick-off. Officiating referees of Craig Filthy Phillips in the middle, and ably assisted by Alistair Cook and Harry Paulin. We're not too far from getting things underway. As you can see, Wentworth Park looking very, very nice for the opening game of their home season. It's looking very, very good, and they're looking to rise to the occasion of the NPL, and this will be a big meeting for the home Reds. As the two teams just line up, exchange a few words. And they'll go through and shake hands and get going. So Drewster's tipped 2-1. I've tipped 3-1, both going the way of the Zebras. Around the grounds, some score updates. Drewster, not good news for the Rangers. 12-0 was it over there, Drewy?
Yeah, Jack Turner bobbing up with a handful of goals. Certainly a tough task for Dane Hudson there with a very decimated squad. They got thumped. Meanwhile, Devonport continued their early season surge. They've moved equal top. They've started 3 from 3, as have South Hobart. They beat Launceston City 5-1, so Zebras will want to keep the pace. Reliably informed, the Beachside had an 8-1 victory with a brace to the man sitting next to me, the Shane Train. This is reserves. He's talked himself up a bit too much. Sean McManus with a brace. We'll just give him a plug, the great man sitting next to us, one of the best in the business. So the captains Price and Engels in the middle here, ready to get this one started here at the Junjun for the first time in 2016. Exciting occasion, a sombre occasion in many ways too. We're looking forward to this one. Clarence huddling up here, as are the Zebs. It's going to be a cracking contest, and we're looking forward to bringing this one to you.
We are indeed, Drewster. And they're in their huddles, as you said, Drewy. Clarence United look fired up. Pretty settled lineup. Looks like the same 11. Well, we've gone through the 11, but I think it's going to be the same makeup as last week. Maybe one slight change with Jared Bugg in for Josh Burgess. Outside of that, looks like they'll start unchanged in terms of both personnel and formation. So Clarence United with the kick-off. They'll be running straight at you and I, Drewster, up towards the clubhouse end. And we're underway here at Wentworth Park. Back for Heath. Heath drives long and out onto the right. Searching ball, looking for Bug. It just trickles out of play for a Tog Hill throw-in. The Zebra, former Clarence player, up against his old team for the first time in the NPL, as Bug tries to get on the outside. He's well checked by Griffin, and it runs out of play. Zebra's in defence now as Moody drives long, beyond halfway, and it's Hallard who comes across agriculturally, puts it forward off the head of Tog Hill, down for Griffin. It's in for Sherman, shifts wide to Muller, back for Fag. It's a loopy old pass that asks a bit of Dwayne Walsh. He's up to the task but can only keep it alive. Driven back the other way by the Clarence defence. Woodham on the ball. Finds Moody. A better start than their Lucas Cup game, that's for sure. They haven't gifted the opposition a goal yet.
That's setting the bar pretty low. That's what after. I've scarcely seen a worse start, conceding inside of 8 seconds. But they have avoided that indignity at least, Gilly.
As the throw comes in, off the boot of Bug, swept away by Tog Hill. Through the middle of the park it goes, and it's with McKeown, who finds Griffin. He slips in, to Engels, who's found room. He fires off a drive. It's well blocked by Hallard. He might even prevent it from being a corner, and it runs out of play for a throw-in. So but a throw is almost as good as a corner when you've got Kurt Engels in your side. A real long throw of the ball. He might unleash a beast here. No, he doesn't. He opts to go down the line. It's picked up from Tog Hill. He rakes the ball in. Oh, Dyson all at sea, but it's over his head and out of play. And the Reds escape. A little nervy moment. It'll be a goal kick. So 2 minutes gone here. Dyson, the vacuum, as I like to call him, on the goal kick, drives along and out onto the left. It's one in the air by Walsh. It's picked up for the Reds, and Rob will look to run at him. He's in a real zebra sandwich there. The black and white went out. They put it down the wing. Cut off from Price. It's Lush who can't keep a hold of it because Muller's there on his heels, but they win it back United. Only for an instant though, as Walsh gets onto it. Hallard with an interesting aerial effort, but he wins it for United. Not for long. McKeown to Muller. Then to Tog Hill, who's looking to overlap. Lays inside. And back. A few touches for the former Red. He's blocked now by Bug. Hedge looks to get involved, but it's scurried clear. Unconvincing, though, from the Zebras as Rob gets onto this one. Drives it out onto the left wing. But it's all black and white. Fag slips as he looks to dish. He gets the ball off though and finds Walsh, who more or less sprays this one straight out of play. It'll be a Zebras throw-in as it took a minor deflection.
Yeah, looking fairly compact early in defence. Clarence not offering a lot going forward, just knocking it long and not really having anyone there, but playing pretty deep at the moment. Zebras have got them pinned back a little. They've got the relieving throw-in here on the far wing as Bug gets up, limping a little bit. Free kick given in the end, so first foul of the game there.
So an opportunity for Clarence to regroup. They drive long down the left. It's Naden chasing after it. The dangerous Naden almost earns the ball for the Clarence United, but it's Walsh who expertly watches this one out. Woodham now goes wide. Picked up from Fag and back to the Gloveman. He picks out Moody, who takes a heavy touch. Looks long, looks ahead, almost picks out Tog Hill, but it's Bug who gets involved. It comes to Huigsloot, goes across to the skipper Engels. Back inside for Huigsloot. He'll look to run at him, the big, tall, lanky former Red. Back for Tog Hill. Out onto the left, he misses his target, but it gets a piece of Bug on the way, so it'll be a Zebras throw-in.
Engels looming as a threat there on Hardwick's flank. He's going to have to really be careful. Kurt Engels, such a star, and a couple of times he's got him behind. They've lost the ball in midfield here. Well, one back by Aiken. Naden spreads it out wide to the left where he's seen the ball turn over. Lush tried to clear it, but succeeded only in playing it off Sunday, who followed up his efforts, and it falls in the hands of the vacuum. But he'll get things restarted here for Clarence with a long ball. He goes in search of, well, no one really. It's Moody back there, and then hacked forward by Tog Hill. Huigsloot goes up and wins. Good target man work there. Sunday McKeown looking to play in Griffin, but beating him to it there in the middle was Heath, I think. Sliding in well. It's Griffin now. They get it out to Engels here wide on the left. Looks to get in behind Hardwick. And ends up getting some assistance from Bug, and they put it into touch. So some good work there by Bug, tracking back, helping his fullback out. Hardwick's going to have his hands full up against Engels, so it will be important for the midfielders to track back today. Here is that man, Hardwick.
So throw in now for the Reds. Hardwick again down the line. Swept away from Moody into the middle. Picked up from Muller. Scurried again by Moody as the big frame bustles in. Hardwick to throw in. Some 7 minutes gone now in this contest. Down the line he goes. It's headed away by Engels. Huigsloot's chopped down. Play goes on though. As Hallard is long down the line. Moody sprays this one out of play, and it's a Clarenece United ball once again. Very little action here, Drewster. Just a lot of kicking out and throwing in at this point in time as it comes down the line. It's Fag, very long and strong. Picked up from Hallard. He looks to find Hardwick. It's taken away from Huigsloot to Engels at the top of the box. Sits well for McKeown, and Huigsloot flashes a drive over the crossbar. Not great purchase from the big talisman. Could have got a piece of price on the way even. It'll be a goal kick nonetheless. So a decent start for the Reds. I think they'll be happy to take a 0-all in this game if that's what it comes to. So they'll be very, very happy that so far 8 minutes gone and it's still level pegging.
Yeah, look, pretty secure defence so far. I think they'd be the happier of the two teams. They're certainly not expecting to come here and dominate possession-wise. Zebra's obviously the favourites, but they've contained them pretty well. And the longer it goes on, the more frustrated maybe Zebras get, and then maybe you get those openings in behind for the likes of Naden, the likes of Rob to exploit. But I wouldn't be expecting him to be coming out there and flying bodies forward. That's certainly not what we were expecting. And it's been a very cagey first 9 minutes or so. Just the one real chance, which was that Huigsloot drive moments ago, which was well over the top. So not much happening yet, but probably not too unexpected, I wouldn't have thought, Gilly.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Drewster. As it'll be another throw in. It's Hardwick again. Down the line, over the head of Bug, picked up by Toghill. It spills away from him, and it's just hurriedly put on the boot by Moody. There for Fag as Bug looks to close him down. Moody squeezes a pass out. Goes out off hedge and out for a throw-in. Toghill again. Working hard with his throw-ins there is Toghill.
I wonder if the wind's maybe just impacting this a little bit too. The windiest ground in the competition, and you can see it on the players' shirts, blowing quite stiffly as Toghill launches this one down the line for Engels, and the pole blocked. I think it was Hardwick who's put it into play. And for you watching at home, we are working on getting that pole out of your way there, so hopefully that'll be removed soon, as Engels is the man with the throw. He puts it into the area, deflects back, and Naden lofts it a long way out of there. I think we're going to see a lot of that from the Reds today. No nonsense, just whack it out of there.
Not mucking around, are they, the Reds?
Absolutely not.
Just playing percentages. We're working on, as Drewster said, getting that back bar out of the way, so your view will be unimpaired. There's a good, healthy crowd here at Wentworth Park for the first home game for the newcomers in the top flight.
People everywhere, aren't they? Well spread out. It's great to see the Clarence faithful showing out numbers for what is a big occasion for their club. As they lay it back here to Henry Fag, and he looked to get something going. He plays it down the right, and Walsh tried to overlap, but Clarence are able to snuff that out. Here's Naden looking to make something happen in midfield, but well shut down again. It's headed out of play. Plenty of throw-ins. Not a lot else so far in this one. Very tight, cagey opening. Ball bounces up in the air, headed away by Price. Griffin went in there and fall away with Bug in midfield. Spinning on it, shifting it out to the left now. They've got the overlapping fullback, they've got Bug. What can he do? He turns it straight over. That was poor from Bug. Needs to do better than that. They haven't really had much of the ball in advanced areas, so they can't be giving the ball away when they do. McKeown lays it black. And here is Sherman in midfield. Quite so far, but the ball's not really been down near the defensive midfielders area. This one's played into central area, and it's whacked out of play again. Clarence dealing with the minimal threat that Zebras are offering so far pretty comfortably.
Yes, it's all very tight. As Sherman picks up the ball, looks to go down the left wing. It's back from Engels and back to Sherman. Your view now unimpeded. Thank you very much to Clarence United. Carl from Clarence United doing great work behind the Barbie and then went and just removed that.
Doing it all, isn't he?
Truck. Yeah, real all-rounder. So a corner now for the Zebras. Is this our first in the game, Drewster? I think it is.
It is our first of the game.
I think Zebras will pose questions from the corner. A lot of big bodies to pile forward, namely Moody. There's the ball lofted in from Griffin, well overshot. McKeown does his best to make something of it, but he fires wide to the left. And it'll be a Clarence United goal kick as the vacuum Dyson comes across just to suck this one up. So it's Dyson over it. He drives long, beyond halfway. Bug wins in the air, down for Hedge, who nods it into his own path. Fag comes across, and he smashes this one out of play. So the cagey stuff continues as 13 minutes ticks by. Hardwick again with a throw-in as Clarence inch down this right-hand flank.
First chance for an attacking advanced area. Hardwick lofts onto the head of Hedge.
Whoa.
Got a good flick on. That's what he's there for, Hedge, the big target man. And flying in was Rob towards the back post trying to get it. But that's probably going to be the best avenue to go, you'd have thought. Just sticking on the big fella's head and seeing what will happen.
He's been a really good pickup as Adam Hedge crossing over from the Kingborough Lions. Just adds plenty in terms of being that target man you spoke of, Drewster, holding things up and involving those wingers. I think it's been a really sound acquisition from Jablonski as it comes down the line. Picked up by Toghill there for Naden, who's a real raging bull, just tries his best. He keeps going. He's got Moody keeping him company. He squares it up. It's cut off for an instant. It's still there for the United, but it's a heavy touch from Hardwick that lets in the Zebras' defence, and they scurry it clear despite the best efforts of a lunging Adam Hedge. Still a Reds ball though, as the hosts to press on, making this a real arm wrestle as it comes in off the head of Hedge. A high boot from Toghill sees it out of play, so another throw in. It'll be Hardwick to bring it in. Cut off from Engels into the middle. Keeps moving. Moody onto it. In the air. Ping pongs about. And then Sherman gets onto it and picks out a pass to perfection. It's with Fag. To Walsh. Down the line he goes looking for McKeown. Cut off well by Lush, but his distribution is found wanting as he gifts the ball to Huigsloot. Luckily he's got a couple of red shirts to help him out. They smother and receive it back, and they're down the left now. The Reds from Rob into Hedge. Looking lively. He looks to switch it out, and he just miscues his ball, looking for the run of Bug. And it bounces out of play for a Zebras throw-in. So slow going here at Wentworth Park. Neither team with any real chances to speak of. Toghill goes down the line, picks out his skipper. In Engels, they wrestle for it. Naden passes to Bug, and then it's flicked on by Heath. The Englishman can't pick out his big target man. It's from Moody to Woodham. Hedge keeps him honest as he drives long, and this one's straight out of play. Good pressure from the big forward that is Adam Hedge. Throwing now for United as it's brought down the wing by Hardwick and cut off from Bug. And back out again as the Zebras regain possession through a throw-in.
Toghill to take now. The Reds just starting to get a foothold in this game now. Didn't have a lot of the ball early, but starting to give Zebras a little bit to think about as Muller lobs one to the path of McKeown, who's got acres of space here at the top of the box, and he gets his volley all wrong. Well, it's the first time in this game we've seen a forward with any kind of space. It was Muller who lofted it forward. I don't know who was tracking the run of McKeown there, but he had a lot of time in the end. Could have perhaps taken it down and taken a touch, opted to go for the volley and got it horribly wrong there, Gilly.
Horribly wrong indeed. It's goal kick now for Dyson, the Dyson Vac. Real community atmosphere at Clarenece United's home of Wentworth Park. A lot of people packing in, the Barbies pumping. It's a really good day for Clarenece United. It's down the left-hand flank. It's well kept in for an instant by Rob, but his desperate header just got away from him. There'll be a throw-in by Henry Fagg, as we've seen a lot of this. Just inching up and down these flanks. Walsh now, a high long throw, looking for Huigsloot. Cut off from Lush, an aerial ball from Aiken, picked up by Naden, flicks on. Hedge is just burrowed into by big Moody. And Clarence look to take the advantage for an instant, but they'll have to come back. This Englishman, Rich Heath, or George Hallard even, might take an opportunity over the dead ball. George Hallard down the left-hand flank, and it's swept clear by Walsh and out for a corner. So Clarenece United with their first corner of the day. Andrew Robb to bring it in. Robb delivers in. It sits well for Hallard, and I guess you could call it a shot, but it stays alive. Back from Robb, and it bounces over the heads of everyone and out of play. So we'll watch this one again as it was lofted in by Robb. Hedge had a good effort at it, but it didn't sit well for him, and then the big Englishman came in and threw the left hoof right through it, but it was well wide and didn't threaten Woodham in goal. Throw-in from Toghill into the centre. Hardwick and a high and long ball. One in the air. And then picked up by Huigsloot. Nice footwork, but Muller treads on it and lets in United. And it's Naden now who bolts away. Shows a bit of turn of pace. It's cut off by Moody. A lovely little effort there from Naden. It seemed to open up for the Reds for an instant. As it's swept away again, and it's Naden again wrestling for possession. Forward it comes, Moody on it. Hedge across to close him down. It's won by Heath. Dishes for Naden. Shows strength. Holds it up and puts it out on the right. And all Toghill can do is help it out for another throw-in as Clarence continue to work down this right-hand side. A throw-in long down the line from Hardwick, and Toghill out. More or less watches it out of play. Keeps possession for the Zebras. Throw-in now.
Don and Griffin competing for the ball there with Aiken. Two industrious midfielders there. Aiken tries to claim it, but that was a bit ambitious. Always going to be a Zebra's ball. The throw will be taken by Toghill. See the wind really blowing across the pitch, which is why the majority of the play is taking place here. Huigsloot with a lovely turn. Tried to feed in Engels, but Hardwick was there, and it's launched straight up the field by Price towards Hedge, but Henry Fagg did pretty well to deal with it. Then I'm not sure what you'd call that from the big Hedge. I think it was a bit optimistic trying the left-footed off-balance volley from 40 yards, and in the end it rolls rather harmlessly wide for a goal kick, which is taken quickly, and Moody goes the direct route straight up the middle of the pitch, repelled, and comes back to Naden in the middle. Lovely link-up play there, now surging through. Here's a real chance. It's driving across his Heath into the back post. Oh, it was Rob, was it? Rob, the Robbie Cruz lookalike, ghosting it at the far post. He was at a cross or a shot. It was a cross. Oh, and in the end, I think it's Fagg who's got a touch on that. I think Rob was all set to bury that, and a crucial touch from Henry Fagg saves the day.
Tell you what, that should have almost been a goal. It was lovely work from Heath just to burst out on that right-hand side, and it was a well-weighted ball as Naden fires a header wide. Got great contact, the big midfielder, as we see along Hallard header come into the box inside the 6-yard area. Naden, great purchase, but it's wide of the right upright. And Zebras escape. The underdogs, the Reds, looking good value so far in this one. This is picked up from Fag. Down the line, McKeown. Back for Sherman. He finds his goalkeeper. It's Woodham to the feet of Moody. Untidy, but brings it under control and 1-2s. Back now for Woodham. Fag now in possession. Chipped along by Muller. It's picked up by Griffin and ricochets out of play off a Clarenece United leg. Zebras in possession. Thrown long and high. It's 3 Clarence players that come in for it, but it's McKeown who comes out with it. He looks to weave around and put a ball through for a Zebra. And then it ricochets out and finds Toghill. The former Red fires off a cross. It's blocked. And Price will just cannon this one clear. Out of play. 23, 22 and a bit. 22 and change even. Gone. And it's 0-0 here at the Junjun. Swept clear by Hardwick. Well done by Hedge. Picks out Bug. And Toghill goes on a rampaging run. Beats a couple and then sees it out off Hardwick. Gains yardage. A direct throw into the edge of the area. It's a good one from Toghill. It brings Engels into play, but his ball is overshot and out of play. So a goal kick now for the Reds as they continue to do really well from a defensive point of view. Really holding in strong back there. And it's a credit to them and a credit to the technical nous of their leader in Alan Jablonski. I think so far so good in terms of the plans that have been laid.
Well, they've had the better chances, haven't they? I don't think many would have expected that. McKeown probably had a good chance but rushed it, but the last 10 minutes, Clarence have been right on top, which is probably not how I most expected this game to play out. And that man, Nick Naden, his influence really starting to grow on this contest. He gets fouled there, and such a skillful player, real star of this side, real star of the league by the looks of things. And he's causing some problems. It'll be hell hard to lob this one forward, but looking good value, Clarence, and they'd love to get something out of it as this one floats just over the head of Bug. And they're right on top here at the moment. This is good football from the Reds. Long, dipping free kick from Hallard, almost picking out Bug. That was from serious long range, but some lovely stuff here. And they'll look to box him in from the corner, or throw in from the corner rather. And this one, perhaps not going the way many expected. And it's great to see the home team, the underdogs, doing a real fight. And the Zebras, if they didn't realise it coming in, they are in for a real fight here tonight.
We're in a ball game, Drewster. It's as simple as that. You probably came in thinking Clarence will do their best just to limit the damage, but so far so good. This is an arm wrestle. As Muller throws down the line, it's picked up from Huigsloot. He gets inside of his defender, lays off to the top of the 18-yard box. Picked up nicely by Lush, but he gives it straight back to the opposition. Toghill, Sherman, Griffin. Zips it down the right flank, cut off by Lush again. It's with Rob. He does well to navigate traffic, but can't pick out a red shirt. Sherman now commanding the troops. Back to the defence, and even to the boot of Woodham. Moody, back from Muller. And Zebras will just really take their time on this one as they switch it wide to the right. Fag over the ball. Long down the channel, and it bounces away and into the arms of Dyson, who comfortably grip onto that one. The vacuum sends forth. One in the air by Moody, who was all alone under it. As Aitken just turns it out onto the left. It's one again by Aitken, and then Griffin gets involved to see it away from Heath. Well done from Muller, 1-2s with McKeown, and back from Toghill, who's had a heap of the ball on this left-hand side. McKeown tumbled into, and he'll have a free kick. A dangerous set-piece opportunity for the Zebras.
Good area here for Griffin to try and do something. Interesting that he's the man who just not been in the starting lineup. He's only in there because Hay is out, and he's the man who's been charged with the set-piece duties so far in this one. And he'll look to curl this one in. He goes to the back post, and wasn't really good contact, and in the end the Reds are able to just launch it long. And ball stay up in the air for an eternity, really swirling around. The breeze certainly having an impact on it, as we thought it might. They roll it out now for Henry Fagg. He looks up, doesn't like what he sees, so goes across to Jordan Muller, who's found some space. He plays it forward to McKeown, steps over it, lays it back to Muller. Back to Toghill. Now McKeown, who's starting to drop a little bit deeper, search. He's lobbed that one over the top beautifully to Toghill. It just rolled beyond him, though. He got him behind there, Toghill. He's done a mountain of work early in this one, the former Clarenece player. A lot of the play taking part down this left-hand side. There is a rather stiff breeze blowing across towards that side of the ground at the Junjun. And that's why we're seeing it. If anything, though, you'd have thought probably would be favouring Zebras. So what Clarenece have done this half been pretty impressive. So this one's
very
laid
impressive.
back.
It was Hedge that got involved to see it to his midfielder in Aitken, who hustles and bustles in the middle. Takes a fair piece of Muller with him, but I like the intent from the young midfielder. See this, he just cannons into the back of Muller. Just making him earn it. I like it as it's out on the right-hand side for the Reds now. It's Bug. Well, it was a nice entry into the box, but Toghill back to sweep clear. The former Red has been busy down this left-hand side. A lot of throwing action, and he's been made to keep honest with Bug in tow as the throwing comes in for Naden. Holds up well with Sherman. Does well. Lays back for Hardwick. Oh, it's Naden almost, but he collects a bit of a Zebra player, and it's a real let-off for the visitors. They'll be able to play it in their defensive third. It's 29-ish minutes gone now. Moody goes back to his goalkeeper. Woodham squirts it wide. Fagg with time and space to measure a ball. It's played long and over the top of the Clarenece defence, but can't pick out Walsh as Dyson's out to suck this one up on the edge of his area. The big vacuum pumps forward. Won by Moody. Down for Engels, who's impeded, and will get a free kick.
So still a fairly scrappy affair through half an hour here. It's pretty even. Clarenece have had a couple of good chances. McKeown with a fairly good chance for Zebras, but nothing too clear cut so far in this one. It's been a very defensive game, bogged down in midfield for the most part. But you've got to say, the newbies to the competition are giving a good account of themselves as Sunday McKeown gets in behind here. He was offside though, and he's none too pleased with that decision. But not an unfamiliar sight. Adam McKeown is just suggesting to an assistant ref that he's not offside. Not an unsurprising sight for many of the forwards in the league, to be fair to him. Never known one to truly believe they were offside. As Dyson will get things going, and the weather just starting to look a little bit ominous in the background here. Could get a little bit wet in the second half. As McKeown lays that one inside. Well done by Hardwick. Fed it to Naden. Naden played it to Hedge. And here's Bug. His cross is well blocked by Toghill, who's been there to blunt anything. Naden wants it short. He gets it. Now he looks to turn. He's got Griffin for company. Turned him nicely and then passed inside. And is that a foul on the edge of the area? It's not. Play on, says the referee. And Zebras can try and launch a counter here. Engels to Huigsloot. They combine nicely. Now he plays it out to McKeown in a little bit of space here. Cuts inside of Rob and then fires a shot, but again it's off target. He's not got his shooting boots on so far in this one. He got round Hardwick here. And on the left, it wasn't a very pretty finish. And that's really been the story of this first half for Zebras. They've been half chances and they've been way off when they have fired the shots.
I was about to say, you probably saying it quite favourably by calling them half chances. There's been some almost moments, some speculative efforts, I guess you'd say, Drewster. But not too many clear-cut ones for either side, really. And I still think the better of their chances have been with the host, Clarenece. A real golden opportunity. They almost scored with a Rich Heath ball to the back post as it comes along from Hallard. It's not cut off from Sherman. Lets in Naden. Finds Rob back for Naden. He can't get by Griffin though with a strong leg. Tackles the Clarence United midfielder. Forward now for Huigsloot. Out on the right finds Griffin and Hardwick across to cut off a ball meant for McKeown. Defensively sound so far, United. Throw in now from Toghill. Into the middle. It's picked up from Muller. He's found a bit of space. Here's a bit of a complaint to referee Craig Phillips as the ball scurried clear by United. Races away. Fag for Moody. Off the head of Sherman. It's forward for the Zebras, but straight into the waiting Hallard, who's been good so far. Down the right wing it comes, and Walsh gets a bit of his hand in the action. And ends a Zebras attack before it really gets going.
So still no shots on target through 32 minutes of this one. Fairly dour affair. That'll suit the hosts more than the visitors. They're obviously looking to keep pace with Devonport and South Hobart, who had thumping victories today, and they're a perfect 3 from 3 on the season. Zebras 2 from 2. They want to keep pace because South Hobart and Devonport striking is both very much looking like good title chances, and they don't want to fall behind them here against the Reds as this one comes in towards Rob. Rob lays it back. Played in there by Lush to Naden. Back to Lush. He's curling cross to the back post. Floats over the head of Bug. The Seagulls scatter. Bug then looks to drop the shoulder and get him behind Toghill, but he's not having any of that, and he works it out off him, although on the return it's taken a flick from Toghill, so it'll be a corner now for the Reds and another good chance to get some bodies forward. There's Rob coming across to take. They almost scored from their last corner. It was a fine piece of delivery from Rob, and Naden rose high. Couldn't quite get there, but they've obviously posed a threat so far from the set pieces. What can Rob do with this one? He sends it in flat towards middle of the box. It was Heath turning. He had plenty of space, but the shot was quickly charged down and it flies out of play for a throw-in.
As we trickle into the 35th minute. Throw in from Hardwick down. It was a foul one from the South Hobart defender. You don't see that too often, Drewster. A foul throw as Toghill down the line for Huigsloot. He's smothered. Hardwick just helps it away. The big boot. On by Sherman. Gives and goes. Huigsloot flicks on. It's slid away by Toghill. Good pressure coming from Hardwick. And the Reds earn themselves a throw in. Hardwick off the head of Naden, down the line. It's picked up from Moody. Finds his goalkeeper. Closing in his Hedge. It's a powerful long ball from Woodham, but it's straight out of play. Yet again, Hedge does that. He's done that a couple of times. Drewster just made the Zebras goalkeeper panic and earned the ball back from Clarence rather easily.
Just making a real nuisance of himself up top, like the all good niggly centre forward should. He's not the, I suppose, most technical centre forward you'll see, but he's certainly effective Hedge, and he's caused a few issues for Moody and Fag in this one. His work rate and his physicality, real assets. He's Naden in the middle of the park, immediately draws a crowd. I thought there was a foul there on Heath that should have been blown, but not to be. Nice work by Sherman. Gets it to Engels. Engels tries to jink around Lush, but solid from the fullback. Shut that out. Well read by Henry Fag to intercept though, but Clarence maintaining the ball. Bug out on this right-hand side. He's tries to get in behind Toghill with a pass there for Heath, and that's surely a foul on Fag.
Pretty blatant from Heath.
Perhaps just a bit frustrated that he didn't get one a minute earlier.
Yeah, he's just lashed out there. A silly effort. Lucky to perhaps escape further punishment. So long clearing effort from Fag. Crosses halfway. It's won by Price. And then Lush helps it further into the bullseye. It's with Naden, who loses it. Muller. It's checked by Lush. And Craig Phillips will have a chat to Lush. It's a free kick for Fag. Driven long. It's off for Clarence Head there in the finish, I think. And the officiating referees disagree. From the naked eye, I thought this was off for Clarence Head.
Just a few drops of rain falling here, Gilly. She's starting to look ominous overhead.
So it was off Hardwick, but then caught the back of Moody as it ran out of play. So it'll be a goal kick. For Dyson.
Well, looks like we're going to get our wet and windy evening at Wentworth Park. How will the Zebras go here at the Jujin? Flicked away there by Moody in the direction of McKeown, but that's well read by Hallard. Really like Hallard as a centre-half. He's been really impressive through the first 2 weeks of the season. Huigsloot looked to charge that down. Sherman pushing forward, trying to make something happen. Perhaps just a little tired of sitting deep. No one deflects last off Toghill, so it should be a Clarence throw-in.
Yet again, good value down this right-hand flank. Hardwick, he's battled well.
Dogged display from him.
Yeah,
so
it really
far,
is. You know, nothing fancy. Just pump it long and tackle when the ball's there to be won. As Heath and Muller battle for it in midfield. Nice battle, that one. I'm enjoying it. As Fag puts it out on the right-hand side. Price ahead of Huigsloot, but is there with Walsh. And Lush across to see it out. Walsh takes a little tumble. Don't know whether unintentionally Lush's boot might have caught, just flicked up and caught the head of Walsh. I'll have to have a look. He looks in a bit of discomfort here, Dwayne Walsh. Just looks like the back wheel, he's just put the... We'll just see here, Lush came across. Looks like he won the ball. Yeah, he wins it there. I can't see too much there. Whether just one of his studs flicked up and caught.
He might have just injured himself. I don't think it's from contact. I think he might have done his ankle in the step afterwards.
It looks like he was holding his face when he came down. Is the thing. We'll see this again, and we'll wait for his reaction. I'm just thinking maybe... Well, I'm not too sure what he's done, really.
Well, he did lose a tooth last week, so he's been in the wars, Dwayne Walsh.
He's got something on his face.
He might have been clipped there. Maybe when Naden steps in front there, that with something happens.
I'm thinking maybe just the back heel flicked up and caught him. But
he seems to be all right, which is good to see. The big Dwayne pipe with our favourites here as Engels launches the throw into Huigsloot. Dyson.
Well saved by Dyson.
Kicks it away. He was jumping mid-air and then when, hang on a sec, got to clear this with the feet and did well. Again, the long throw-in ability of Kurt Engels causing havoc. Huigsloot, don't know if he actually got a piece on that or whether it was just the throw directly going there, carried by the wind. Either way, they repel. Sherman looking to turn, but he's got Bug and Aiken for company. Swarming. Does well, Sherman. Really well to get it to Toghill. The return pass was then returned and not done so well. So Bug can clear the area. He does so in the direction of Hedge, who does well to keep it in.
It was Heath.
Heath, rather.
Can't quite in the end, it seems, Drewster, as the throwing comes in from Griffin. Forward, won by McKeown. It's there for Griffin again. As he shapes to shoot, he fires off a stinging shot, but it's well collected by Dyson, who's been good so far, you've got to say, Drewster. I don't think Dyson's technique would be seen in your technical coaching books, but he's just effective, is the Clarence United gloveman. It's won by Fag across for Engels. Just to get down that far side. Into the middle. Griffin. In a bit of space, but it's straight off the dome of Hardwick. Now there for Toghill. Back for Griffin into the bullseye. He'll find Muller. The defensive midfielder picks out his skipper in Engels. Forward now for Huigsloot, who turns with a spin and finds Sherman. Hallard robbed him of it, and then Huigsloot tried his best to get a ball into the box, but it was a pretty safe one as out of play. Hallard just down. Looks in a slight spot of bother, but should be fine to continue. Just seeing your top corner.
Approaching half-time here. Still not many chances of note in this one. It's been a fairly dour display as Dyson launches this one. Moody won the header convincing low to Callan Griffin in midfield. Huigsloot again with a nice flick on. Such a real asset up top for the Zebras, this Huigsloot. He doesn't lose too many in the air. Big, strong lad. He's Price carrying out a defence, and he just launches the long diagonal, trying to set it out in front of Rob, who chases down, but Engels tracked it back and did well, Kurt Engels. Now he launches long. A lot of the long, direct football being played here. Huigsloot looking to get in behind, but the Englishman Hallard was there to put it into touch again. Defence holding firm here against the Zebras. Engels with the throw-in.
And will we see him uncork a genie here? We just might, as he goes long and direct. And it's off the head of Huigsloot, was it? I think it was Huigsloot as it comes long and direct. This is a real weapon in the arsenal. No, it was Moody.
Jeez, he's not shy of getting forward, the big centre-back, is he?
Loves it. Absolutely loves it, does Moody. We're back with live action. It's out wide with Engels. He's playing defensively in the latter part of this half, as Walsh, of course, off receiving some attention. It's a foul against Sherman.
Yeah, spent a bit of time as a fullback, Engels, so not a position that's unfamiliar with him.
I would say his best position, in my opinion, is fullback. Yeah. I think if you had a team where you could have the luxury of having Engels back there, I think that's where he'd be best, because defensively he's very sound, and what he brings attacking, well, that's no secret. I really like Engels back there, and if Walsh is off for the game, I don't think it hurts them too much. That's for sure. That it's just a matter of who replaces him in an attacking sense. As Woodham's over this one to bring it back into play. Maybe
bring Morano on the right and keep Engels there. Have that dual threat. They certainly need a bit more attacking impetus, because they've not really threatened Clarence too much in this first half. They've dealt with what's been thrown at them pretty comfortably, as Hallard again clears the area.
And another change I'd like to see, Drew, so to be honest, I would have liked to see the last few weeks, is Huigsloot into midfield. I'd like to see him at 10 more than 9, because he's awfully, he's got his back to goal every time he gets the ball, and I just think he'd be better with the ball running at Clarence. That's my opinion. But there's a reason I don't coach. As the throwing comes down the line, McKeown smothered by a couple of Reds, and they do well in the end to the hosts. Keep a hold of it. And trickle real close to half time. There wouldn't be too much overtime, you wouldn't have thought, Drewster.
I wouldn't have thought there'd be more than a minute, if even a minute, as Naden here, again surrounded by Zebras players, and probably should have just let that one roll out in the end, but took another touch, and it'll be Zebras throw-in.
Just bobbled up on him, didn't it, at the last moment, as he looked to try and just nudge it down the line.
He's been one of the few players who have threatened to break the game open with a bit of skill, a bit of class around the final third, but apart from that, it's been a very defensive game, a very, very scrappy game, bogged down in midfield, not a lot being created. And I think Clarence will be the happier of the two teams. 0-0 will suit them just fine, I'd have thought.
Be absolutely wrapped, I would have thought, as they jump in. It's Price, who just kicks for touch. And it'll eventually go out of play as the wind howls through the Junjun. Warrior Park,
geez.
Warrior Park.
I wouldn't be saying that too loud around these parts, Gilly.
That's pretty much a swear word around these parts as the throwing comes in. Off there to McKeown. One by Sherman. It looked to catch the hand of Hardwick, but the Reds win it back, and it's a nice bit of work by Aitken that unleashes Naden. He goes on a marauding run. Carl from Moody on the edge of the box as they just look to threaten Clarence. And now Zebras might be away. As Sherman, a long seeking ball looking for McKeown, but the run never comes. And that should just about be curtains on an arm wrestle of the first half, I would have thought, as Hardwick goes down the line. Naden with a touch, a heavy one, lets in Toghill. In for Muller. Back for McKeown. And Moody to Muller. fag now. And that is half time here at Wentworth Park. A good half for the hosts. They sit level with the second place Zebras, the undefeated Zebras. And a very good defensive display by the hosts in their first home game of the NPL season. Let's check out the highlights, Drewster.
Well, I wouldn't think there'd be too many of them. That free kick that went towards the back post as we Huigsloot with a chance from range. That's really what Zebras have been restricted to. This was the best one they had. McKeown, the ball just took a while to sit for him, and a tough one in the end to try and control that down. It's been a fairly scrappy game. Fizzing corner here was flicked on, and Hallard didn't get his boot round it. Skewed it wide. This was the best one. And Henry Fagg got a crucial little touch on it to take it away from Rob at the back post. In the resulting corner, Naden nearly did what Rob could not and put it in the back of the net. And that was probably the most lively the game was for the entire first half. It's fairly defensive apart from that. But you got to say, Clarence have arguably been the better side, which is not something we probably expected coming into it. Zebras haven't really performed to the level we know they can. Their chances have been few and far between, and when they have had that yard of space, have blazed horribly over the top.
I think Clarence has looked the more likely when they've breached the box. There's very little between these two teams. You wouldn't think that one's a newcomer coming into this one. They've been defensively strong, Clarence United. They've been hard in the challenge. They've been determined and pretty much put on the performance you would have hoped on such a significant occasion that is the Luke Cripps Memorial Shield. So I think so far so good as far as the host Clarence United are concerned. I think if they could get another 45 of that exact same performance, they would be wrapped. And Zebras, well, they'd be far from wrapped with that first half. They're meant to be a title challenger, Drew.
Certainly haven't looked at through 45 here.
No, they haven't. They haven't at all. A lot of their players more or less missing in that first 45, just not getting on the ball or not really threatening in their usual capacity. Muller's had a heap of it. Their defensive players have had a lot of it. Toghill's had plenty. Even Engels has had a lot of the ball, but hasn't been able to really threaten like we've seen Engels do. He's been cut short before he's got anywhere near the box and been able to shoot. I think it's been a tremendous performance from not just Clarence United in terms of 11 blokes out there, but I think Alan Jablonski he's got his tactics on point so far. He's bang on, and a tremendous first half from the host Clarence United. Yeah,
they've set out to frustrate, and you've got to say so far they've achieved that. We'll see how it goes in the second half, but the game just seems to be screaming a 1-0 result. Someone will eventually take that one chance. But you can't see there being too many goals. I certainly don't think Clarence are going to look to open it up. We'll have all of the second half coming at you in around about 10 minutes' time. We'll take a breather and be right back, right here at the Junjun.
I'll just fill them in tissue. I'll just
It'll get wet again, but it's going to rain more, I think, so we're good.
whatever. Yeah. I don't know if I can hear you through the headphones.
Can you hear it? Yeah, you can hear it? Okay, yep.
Back for the second half here from Wentworth Park. So far, it's been a real arm wrestle between a powerhouse in Hobart Zebras up against the newcomers in Clarenece United, who've given a good account of themselves so far. So it's 0-0 here at Wentworth Park, also known as the Jungian. So far, it's been just that. It's been the Jungian. The keys locked firmly on both goals, really. Neither have threatened much. Very little between the two sides. Clarence probably the better chances. Zebra's probably the better build-up. But yeah, very little between the pairing. And Zebras will have a second half kick-off. Racing towards the clubhouse end. And Clarence United will be going towards the dunes in this second half. So we're not far away from getting back underway. The sun beaming in now on Wentworth Park, being a little bit more kind to us, this weather.
It was certainly looking ominous there for a bit. Black clouds everywhere, but appears to have missed us. So, a fairly pleasant evening at the Jungian. As this one's launched wide. Here to chase it down is McKeown, but across the deal with it was Lush, wearing some bandaging on the head there as Walsh, so obviously did take a bit of a knock there. Huigsloot throws himself in at the ball. Will eventually deflect to Henry Fagg. He looks up, waits for something to present itself, chips it down the wing, where Walsh has made a run. He's in behind Lush here. Rob across there too, and Walsh battled on, and in the end, it rolls across.
And sucked up by the vacuum, Drewster, the big Dyson.
And he gets things starting quickly. Charging out of defence here is Price. He goes down the line, leading to the ball was Hedge. And in the end, the ball deflects out of play. There's a stoppage. Tolgill just jogging back on. And there's going to be a substitution here for Zebras in the opening minute, so no messing about here. It looks like the man from New South Wales is about to head on for his first taste of PS4 NPL Taz action.
Who just came off Drewster?
I think it might have been McKeown.
No, it was Engels.
Well, you've got to think that Kurt Engels must be injured, because there is no way that Hay would be pulling his star man out for any other reason. So
Kurt Angles.
that's a big blow to lose your star in a creative senses. Huigsloot plays in Sherman, who's in an advanced position. Too advanced as it was because he's offside. So it might be a real reshuffle here from Hay.
So we have the New South Welshman James Conway coming on for the captain, Kurt Angles. So you've got to think there's only injury behind that. But it was interesting, wasn't a half-time sub, Drewster? Whether he thought he'd be all right to go on and then felt something early, or...
I reckon that must have been the case. I said, go out there, run a few paces and see how you are. But I thought you could do that at half-time.
Yeah, bizarre, to be honest. As Woodham plays it short for Fag. Forward it goes, won by Huigsloot. Swept away from Rob. It's with Hedge, who's presented well all afternoon. For Bargy, looks to run and dash down that right-hand side. Holds it up. Finds support. He does through Hardwick. It's been pretty solid, to be honest, Hardwick. Scored 2 penalties last week. Dyson. Vacuum, long and strong. And this one's a shocker. Sprays out of play for a throw-in, so Conway will have his second involvement, another throw-in. Down the line it trickles. McKeown can't bring it under his spell. Eventually he does. Lays off into the middle. The Fag. Whacks long. Brought down off the chest of Hallard. Has played forward to Hedge, who knocks into the middle. Back he goes. It's with Hardwick. Cannons into Zebra's player, rather, and then Huigsloot gets Conway involved, and he turns it out, and we might see our first real look at Conway as he turns the wheels on. He bursts away. Conway into the centre, finds McKeown, who opens the scoring, fires into the bottom right. A good goal for the Zebras, mainly coming through the new recruit, New South Welshman James Conway. Sam Conway. James, I said. Sam Conway really turned the afterburners on, burst down that left-hand side, laid into the middle for McKeown. McKeown doesn't miss those opportunities. Put it away, and the Zebras now have a valuable lead to start the second half.
Oh, how's that for an immediate impact from Conway? He's been on the pitch all of 30 seconds, and he's already registered an assist. That's his first 30 seconds of action for the season, and he's broken through what was a pretty resilient Clarence defence up until that point. A big blow, so Kurt Angles being injured and being subbed off. Obviously, we hope it's nothing long-term, maybe a blessing in disguise. It's got Conway involved, and what an immediate impact he's made. 1-0 Zebras. Huge stuff there. And they take a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, not a good start for the hosts, Clarenece United, but that was just searing pace from Conway down the flank. Really good first impact from the star recruit from New South Wales. They played around their defence now, Zebras. Not all gone, though, for Clarence. They've threatened in this game, so they can prove they can pose questions to this Zebras defence. From Lush, it's spread wide to Rob. Just a nip on the outside of Toghill. He uses strength to see it out. 50 minutes gone. The throw-in from Toghill to Fag. Into the middle. It's Griffin who finds Sherman, who neatly tucks it back for Griffin. It's with Conway, who finds McKeown. He lets it run, expertly done. Drops it off to the top of the 6-yard box. Hallard there just to scurry clear onto a Clarence leg in Hedge. He can't bring it down. Conway involved again as he finds Moody, who finds a fellow Henry in Fag. Back now through Muller. Sells Fag short, to be honest, and now Clarence might win back through Lush. He's battling hard with Muller. Undoes his earlier work. And Walsh very calmly strolls back and finds Muller to Toghill. And then to Fag. Moody runs away with it. Through they find Huigsloot. Huigsloot finds someone out on the left who finds McKeown. It's won by Price and sits for a Toghill shot. And he hits this one firmly over the bar. So we see this again from Toghill. It sat nicely for him, but it was always too high of the goal frame. As Dyson has yet another goal kick. So Hobart Jeep Zebras, the highly fancied Zebras, open this one They lead 1-0 as it currently stands. Played forward by Dyson. Bounces away as it crosses halfway. Rob comes in to keep Fag on us, and now it's Tog Hill. Inside. Back for Fag. Threads it through to Muller, who's been busy. Finds the big frame of Henry Moody. Forward for Huigsloot. It's delightful off his boot, but it's cut off nicely by Hallard. Read the play well, just a nip in front. And heaved clear as a throw in for the Zebras. New recruit Conway. It's already shown his quality, to be honest. Lightning run to set up that first goal. Through now for Huigsloot. Back for Sherman. He gets it to Walsh, who switches wide on the right. It's Tog Hill, a long searching ball to the back post, and it's well collected from Dyson, just ahead of the dangerous Huigsloot. And the vacuum will clear once more. Long and strong, it crosses halfway. It's seen out off the boot of Hedge. Be a Zebra's throw in. So Clarence with it all to do. They're going to chase this contest as they're a 1 goal behind powerhouse that is the Hobart Zebras. Dropped inside from Sherman for Muller. Naden there with him. Sees him nudge it to Tog Hill. He's been very busy. Does well to get outside of Rob. Puts it into the top of the 6-yard box, and Price across to clear. So it'll be a corner or a deep throw in, rather, for Zebras.
Come out firing, haven't they, the Zebras? This has been a real change from the
though.
first half. They've come out and really started turning the screws on Clarence early. They've scored one. They're threatening to do so again. And a real test for the Reds' defence here. It's the defence under siege as this one is whipped in. Didn't really sit too kindly, and they'll reload and go again from the right. Conway chips it in, and it's hacked out of there by Hardwick. Real backs to the wall stuff here at the moment. It's been a bright start from Zebras, and Fag looks like he's going to launch the long throw again. It's been a tactic they've used throughout. Obviously going a little bit short to where Moody was lurking. This one should be cleared. A lovely little spin there from Hedge, doing some good work, the target man. Now Rob makes a bursting run down the left, and it's a little push in his back for his troubles, and that will relieve the pressure. And Bug looks to take it quickly. His free kick picked out. Tog Hill though, and he goes to Walsh. Back to Tog Hill. Interesting, Walsh playing as a right winger. He really has changed things up, at half time.
Shuffled the deck, hasn't he?
Here's Sherman. Plays it back to Fag. They've got the lead now. They're not going to be too worried about moving the ball too quickly. They know Clarence have to chase the game. But clearly not a lot enough here, so they go all the way back to Woodham. He goes back to Fag. Clarence happy to sit off here. Haven't put the pressure on the centre backs or the keeper. They've sat pretty deep throughout. Really look to be a compact defence. It's a beautiful ball from Sherman to Huigsloot. He centres it. It's partly cleared, not convincingly though. McKeown with a chance to make it 2, and it's blocked on the line in the end by
Dyson.
Price. Dyson made the initial save, and he's copped a knock for his troubles, I think, as we have a look at the replay. He was well out off his line. Got a touch. It was probably
Price,
going
yeah.
wide, but Price made sure of it. Some good work from the two as they conspire to deny Zebras, who are having a really good spell to start this half.
Really good spell indeed, showing their quality. It's coming to the fore after a pretty lacklustre first 45 from the Black and White Army. Dyson looks to be hobbling somewhat. Craig Phillips having a chat with someone. I'm not too sure exactly what went on there. Sherman will get the ball at last and look to loft in a corner as Zebras look to add a second. Oh, it's to the front post, and it was off the head of McKeown, and it just flew away past the far upright, as we see again. I think it was McKeown, or was it Fag even? It was Fag, the front post. Just nipped in ahead of a real host of Clarence players, and it just zipped away past that right upright. Easily could have lodged itself in the bottom corner. Zebras looking dangerous as we tick on into the 57th minute. Dyson looks to have recovered from his earlier challenge, while Dwayne Walsh looks on Looks like he's ready to play a game of tennis with that headband set up. Long Dyson sends a long goal kick, and he actually falls to the floor as he takes it. Takes a tumble, big Dyson. Sent Rob an almighty task just to keep that one in, as we're back live, and it's down the right wing from Huigsloot for Walsh. Still whip it in. Dyson does well. Does he? It's out for a corner. So another one as the Zebras, these stats start to mount. Really pressing their claim. Be lofted in from the right-hand side. Clarence with their big bodies back. It comes into the middle. Huigsloot with great purchase on ahead. Far too easy for the centre forward. Just bobs up and nods that one home. Easy pickings there. You don't see the ball come in, but you just see Huigsloot just waiting. He has no one near him.
How on earth do you leave Luke Huigsloot that far clear? Surely he's the number one man you've got to pay attention to. It's pretty hard to miss the big fella. He was afforded far too much space. An easy finish, 2-0, and it's been a completely different second half to what we saw in the first. It's been all one-way traffic. Zebras dominating. Clarence, who did such a good job in the first 45 of blunting everything that was thrown at them, have just been all over the place at the back in this second half.
That was really disappointing from a Clarence perspective. If I think Alan Jablonski, if we had the camera on him after that goal, he would have been furious. I reckon one of the things, I can guarantee one of the things talked about was marking Huigsloot on set pieces. It is an absolute given. If a corner comes in, everyone should be looking, where's Huigsloot? There was no one near him. They were nowhere near him. In a different postcode to Huigsloot, and he just bobbed up and nodded in. It was far too easy for the Zebras, and it makes it tough going for Clarence to get something out of this game now. And it looks so promising for them at the close of the first half as Hallard throws down the line off the head of Moody. Sits for Rob. He scoops one into the box, and it's swallowed easily by Woodham. So 2-0 now to the Zebras. Comes out in the left to Moody, who finds Conway. Plays left to right, picks out the former skipper in Fag, who just stroll across halfway, no real pressure coming. Bobs it into the centre for Sherman. He chips it out onto the right, nobody home, and Clarence will regain possession. As we tick into 60 minutes gone, so now on the clock, and the Zebras so far leading 2-0. There's a real arm wrestle in the first half. Zebras have come out fighting in the second stanza all over the host Clarence United. Battled manfully in that first half, but haven't looked up to standard in the second and what they dished up in the first half as Walsh handles it. And Clarence will again regain possession as Craig Filthy Phillips comes across for a chat, and it's a yellow card for Muller. I think that was for a bit of lip maybe. Regardless, he'll enter the book. And it will be Jeremy Price to send long and strong. And the captain's armband on for Clarence United. Long it comes, beyond halfway. It's not his best effort. He's gifted possession back to the visitors, and they'll throw in through Tolkill. He's had plenty of it, Drewster.
He's been a busy man down that flank, hasn't he? And it's really completely, the complexion of this game has changed entirely from the first half. It was a real arm wrestle, a real 50-50 game, a battle. Clarence were defensively outstanding, but they've not been able to maintain it, and that's what happens at the higher level. You can't switch off. You've got to be on your game for the whole 90 minutes or you'll be made to pay, and that's what we've seen here. Zebras have made some changes, and so far they've paid off. Half an hour remaining in this one. Here's Big Moody. Spreads it across to Callan Griffin in midfield. He has a little while. Aiken eventually closes him down. He curls one. Oh, Sherman hustling. Sherman from the angle cuts back onto his left, switches back to the right, blasts a shot. Dyson does well to save. He hammered that Sherman. He showed some quick feet and he blitzed his way past the defence there, Sherman, with some lovely work. He came very close to making it 3-0. Moody through the middle, and there's a little bit of initial contact, which sees our first slice of cheese of the day to Nick Naden.
Second one, mate. There was one before for Jordan Muller you might have missed.
I've completely missed that, Gilly, but there you go.
First for the Reds, I believe. It's Sherman over this set-piece opportunity.
Playing much more advanced role in this half, Sherman.
They're pushing him forward, aren't they? Sherman, long and strong. Oh, it's a crowded box. There's a sea of players. Dyson was all at sea. And Clarence managed to scurry clear, far from convincing from Price. It lets in Tolgill. He goes on a run. Wentworth Park's seen plenty of that over the years. And it's seen clear by the Reds. As Phillips brings it back in a yellow card, a yellow ticket. A slice of cheese presented for George Hallard. I'm not too sure what went on there, Drewster. I didn't see it. Must have been contact after the ball left the area because it didn't seem like there was a foul, but nonetheless, Big George into the book. It's been pretty effective, Hallard. We'll see this again. Dyson had no idea. But luckily they got it out of there, the Reds. But this spells danger. We've got Sherman over it. We got Huigsloot. Now, I tell you, geez, I hope someone's near him this time. They should have that whole wall dedicated to Huigsloot, actually, and just get him the following round. Sherman on it. Strikes it. Oh, it's a superb set piece.
Sublime.
Top window.
Sherman goes bang.
Terrific from Sherman. Absolutely terrific.
Top draw.
Look
That
at
is just
this.
a dipping curling effort.
Dyson did his
But
best.
it's not a goal. I'm not sure why. Someone must have been offside.
Oh, we're getting carried away with how good that was.
That's the pitfalls of looking at a monitor and not the game in live action.
And
Right
live
there.
action tells us that wasn't a goal. I'm not exactly sure what went on.
I'm guessing one of the Zebras boys infringed there in an offside position. So, there you go. Sherman's contender for goal of the week. Knocked off. Stiff. It was a beautiful technique from him.
Jeez, it was well finished off, but unfortunately for the Zebras, not to be. As it seems we're getting some rainfall here at Wentworth Park. Variety the spice of life when it comes to weather. As Hedge does well, gets it out in front of Rob. He almost gets in behind that Zebras defence, but it's cut off by Muller. Muller now. It's just scurried away. Long off the head of Sherman. Then Huigsloot is still alive here for Huigsloot. Drops off for Sherman. Well saved by Dyson. Should have been a goal for all money. And it might still be as Walsh clatters one into the left upright. Play goes on and Zebra's still in possession. A terrific bit of work by Dyson to deny Sherman, but you got to say he just had to get it either side of him with a shot, and it was a goal. Free kick. We'll see this again. This is the Walsh effort. Very nearly home, but hits that left upright just before it. Sherman should have had a goal. Huigsloot put it on a platter with him. It was an absolute gift. Even tied the bow for Sherman, and he still couldn't unwrap it. Sherman again over this set piece from the left. He overshoots this one and out of play, and Clarence will be able to breathe a sigh of relief as we see this again. Huigsloot did really well, just dropped it off easy as you like, and it was a lackluster finish from Sherman. Easily dealt with by Dyson. The vacuum just sucked that one up and sent it clear. 66 minutes gone now, and Zebras with the 2-0 lead. This is pumped long and strong from Dyson. Brought down from Hedge, and there for Griffin. Lays back. Finds Fag. Moody. Griffin. As Fag now, the former skipper, chips along the right-hand side. Looking for Sherman. Allard across. Does well, does the big Englishman. Does really well. Plays the feet, finds his fellow countryman in Heath, and then out through Naden to Rob. Down the left-hand side, this one races out of play. And Zebras will regain possession through a Toghill throw-in. So there's 67 minutes gone. Zebras with a 2-0 lead, and you've probably got to say that the result just about theirs from here, unless Clarence can spark a late resurgence. As defence plays back to Woodham, to Moody. Fag will look to bring it up the park on a fairly picturesque Wentworth Park here today. A mountain in the background as it comes along off the head of Aitken. And it's a foul anyway. Might have been offside there for the Zebras, I think. Yeah, it was offside. So free kick for the hosts, and big Englishman George Hallard will be the one.
He launches it forward. Been flat out on the block here the last few minutes, furiously topping away. It's been chance after chance for Zebras in this half. They've been absolutely burying them. Unfortunately, not burying a couple of very good chances there. That's a lovely ball there by Griffin. Sets McKeown away. He looks to run it Hardwick there. He sets the cross. It was in behind Huigsloot though, who gambled on it towards the far post of Sherman rather than Huigsloot. This one's launched up the line. In midfield for it. Rob searching. Hedge was in there. Rob hustles away, but Fag goes back and retreats to Woodham. Followed up well by Rob. He's still working hard, hasn't stopped running, but 2-0. They've not really shown much inventiveness this half, Clarence. The long balls haven't yielded any chances for them, and they've been firmly under siege. Chance after chance for this Zebras outfit, who I'm guessing are on the receiving end of a fair spray from Crusade at the half, as that's a terrible back pass from Callan Griffin, and he's bailed out by Big Moody in the end. You can buy him a drink after the game for that, because he's nearly played in Rob for a clear goal scoring chance. Very risky back pass. McKeown does well, fights on, wins the ball, but then he leaves it behind, and eventually he's fouled by Hardwick, and another chance for Sherman to whip one in, but instead Muller takes it quickly. Walsh, or it's rather Conway surging in the box, but Price did well to deny him. The captain with a fine challenge. Conway's made a real impact since coming into this game. Looking like quite a good signing for Zebras. Just another attacking weapon at their disposal with Kurt Engels going off injured. Certainly a welcome addition. Another chance for Fag to launch a long throw in. He does. It's flicked on by Huigsloot. Bounces around, and eventually Walsh will give chase. He lays it back. There was Griffin, and that was shut down there by Richard Heath, and deflects out of play. But again, it's very much the Zebras in control of proceedings there, starting to break them down. Look at that view. Picturesque, you said. Indeed it is here at the Junjun. Not quite the hostile environment we thought it might have been.
Yeah, well, still a fairly decent breeze coming in off those dunes. Nice to cut through you, I think, if you're playing back there and towards that end. As it comes along, it's flicked on nicely from Sherman, but can't pick out a teammate. Lush does well. He runs forward. The fullback still in pursuit of this one, but it's Muller who sweeps it back to Woodham. Woodham, long and strong. He's been a bit poor with his possession in this game, but this one picks out Sherman nicely, and Sherman bolts on and earns himself a free kick.
Yeah, just a little bit late there, Hallard. There'll be another chance for a set piece here. Another chance perhaps for Sherman to show what he can do over the dead ball. His delivery has been absolutely spot on in this second half, been a constant threat. Clarence back four are going to be bracing themselves here as Sherman stands over this one. Still not entirely sure why his goal was chalked off. Had a great chance moments later. Fired a rather tame effort straight at Dyson. What can he do here? in the direction of Dyson, who does well to hold it. A bit of fizz on that one.
He clunked this one well, didn't he, Dawson?
Extended the jukes nicely there.
No,
Well, he's taking a tumble in live action.
There's a yellow card presented to Moody. And the big defenders just wanted off quickly. Didn't want to say too much about it with Phillips there. And Dawson's still down. So I don't know what actually happened here, but Moody was presented a ticket as he made his way down the other end of the pitch. Good crowd in here for a tremendous occasion. Luke Cripps Memorial Shield, and it looks like it's going to go to the Zebras today, but all done to all involved. Clarence have been good value for the most part. And Dyson's been in the wars a little bit. This is the second or third time he's come hobbling back up to his feet. But he'll keep battling on, such is the mentality of Clarence United. Hallard over this one. So they wait for Craig Phillips before he can bring it back in. It looks like it's going to be a change for Clarence. There's going to be a substitution. Grant Malcolm on. And it's Bug off. So Bug off and Grant Malcolm on. Comes along from Hallard. Off the head of Naden. Brought down from Moody and it's straight out of play. So Clarence will regain the ball. So it looks like Naden might have been switched wider with that change. So we've got Bug coming off. I think Malcolm dropping into midfield and Naden switching out wide. So maybe they'll look to find Naden as the outlet and use his creative skills and his turn of pace. Be a throw in now. It's Lockie Hardwick, the man they call Pumba. A throw in into the box off the back of Conway. Just help further. It's there as McKeown sits under it. He's brought down afterwards, it seems. It's Hallard. He's shown a second yellow and a red card, and that's the end of Hallard's afternoon. That is a bitter blow for Clarence United, not just for this week, but next week. When they take on Olympia in the Eastern Shore Derby, they would have really needed Hallard out there up against the champions, and his afternoon's cut short.
Yeah, he's been a big player for him this year, so that's going to be a massive blow ahead of the derby. His second yellow for Hallard. A bit unnecessary, a bit late. When you're walking on the tightrope as he was from that earlier booking, you just can't afford to be doing stuff like that, really.
It was just silly, really, as it looks like another change for the Zebras. Moreno on, Callan Griffin off, so we might see the creativity of the Canadian Michael Moreno. But yes, it was it was needless, really. He didn't really need to do what he just did. George Hallard came across and got an almighty piece of McKeown. I don't know whether we caught it real well in the replay. This play was sort of unfolding as it happened, but yeah, it's the end of Hallard's day, and it's going to make it tough for Clarence to keep this one respectable scoreline-wise. Comes down the line, Hedge picks it up, looks inside, shimmies and shakes and puts it out in front of Naden. He uses his wheels. Oh, he gets by a couple, Nick Naden. Oh, looks to shoot, and it's well swept clear. It was a slide by, I think it was Toghill in the end. Yes, it was Toghill who came across.
Perfect timing there.
It was perfect timing. It would have been a goal for Nick Naden, you would have thought. What a run from the Clarence midfielder.
Lively customer, isn't he? He's been a bit more subdued this half. He seemed to have much of the ball, but he's showing what he can do there. A constant threat, and well done to Toghill against his former team there with a crucial intervention.
He looks a darn good footballer. Bring it in. He's got Heath offering on short. Yet again, a foul throw from Hardwick. He's done it twice now, and I would say one's unforgivable when you're playing senior football, but two, come on Hardwick, get it together. Comes along over the top, and Walsh looks to run onto it. It's seen clear, and then Huigsloot looks to use his bulk and muscle, and yeah, he just backs into Heath. And Heath handles him. It's a free kick for the Reds. Could have gone either way, really, that one. And the point of view of the referee is Malcolm drives along. Oh, it's there for Hedge. He picks it up and it's come off the back post. It looked like a certain goal for Clarence United as Conway sees it clear. It should have been a goal for Hedge, really, if not for a lick of paint on that back post. He did everything he needed to. Woodham was all at sea, to be honest. Would have been a bit of a gift from the Zebras gloveman, but could have easily been a goal. Dwayne Walsh showing a slice of cheese. Woodham came out and just didn't get anywhere near enough of it, and Hedge turned around, scooped it towards goal. I reckon a coat of paint, and there's nothing in that. Could have easily been a goal for the Red striker. So it was a yellow card for Hedge. Not for Hedge, sorry, for Walsh. So Craig Phillips really getting the ticket book out now. Price over this one. So we tick into 78 minutes gone as Price drives along off the head of Moody. Moreno will pick this one up. The substitute will look to get going with some pace down the flank. It's Huigsloot who does well, spins it out of play. Tries to fool the referee. He's not believing it. It'll be a throw in for Clarence. And it looks like Hardwick's in a bit of strife. They might be forced to make a change here, United. There's a bit being said on the sidelines, it's safe to say. But Hardwick looks in a spot of bother, so it might be Burgess coming on. Yeah, that's it. The former Glenorchy Knight, Josh Burgess, on to replace Hardwick, who's just pulled up short when he's come to take that throw in. So Burgess will replace him, a lively customer, and it's a pretty venomous strike on him when he hits them well. So on comes Burgess. And that's the end of Hardwick's day, who battled manfully down that wing. In some pretty stern opposition. It's Heath throws down the wing. Malcolm throws his weight around a little too much for the liking of Craig Filthy Phillips, and it's a free kick for the Zebras. A little over 10 minutes left to tick. Zebras will look to throw this one in. Take the free kick. And take it short and quickly from Conway to Moody. And now it's with Fag.
Interesting that Clarence have probably looked the best they have all half since going down to 10 men. They've had a couple of chances that had absolutely nothing before then, but Naden coming close and Hedge very close. They certainly prefer to still have 11 men out there though, don't get me wrong. Here's Conway in a bit of space on the wing. His pass is cut out by Aiken. Muller wins it back. He flies in, but some good work there from Hedge. Conway clatters into him, and eventually the foul goes against Hedge. Well, not sure about that one. Seems a rather generous decision. This one's played out the back. Moody dwells on the ball and then chips it forward onto the chest of the big target man, Huigsloot. He extends the long lever and keeps it in play, gets it to Conway. He flicks it centrally to Majorano, just on looking to make an impact. He tried to square it for Sherman, but it's hacked clear and the danger is averted for now. Morano certainly would want to be making an impact, having been left out of the starting lineup today.
He's become out of favour all of a sudden. He's only been here 2 minutes.
Here's Huigsloot, lays it back off for Conway. Muller surging forward here, Jordan Muller, what can he do? Fighting with Naden, who tracks him every step of the way and eventually goes behind for a corner.
Out for a corner and another dangerous opportunity for the Zebras to add another to the ledger. Been good value United from a defensive standpoint, and they've had a couple of good opportunities, the best by far not long ago from Adam Hedge. Coat of paint away from getting one back. And we've got Sherman over this one. He's had a decent afternoon actually, Sherman, especially in the second half as it comes into the back post and it's met with a fearsome right boot from Moody. Well wide and into the side netting. Not well wide, really. It was only just past that post. Done a bit of damage to the goal, it seems. As Dyson will have a goal kick once they fix this goal netting. Goal kick for Dyson. Not long to go at all here at Wentworth Park, the Jungion, as we like to call it.
In case you hadn't noticed.
The Dunes and the Dungeon. It's a weird word play, but we like it. And long and strong off the head of a zebra and back the other way through Lush.
Shy of a nickname in the commentary box, it's fair to say.
You did right.
Pumba, one that...
well, that's more just... I know that's his actual nickname.
I
I've
like it. First I've heard of it.
Never heard him referred to in any other way.
Well, I'm a big fan of that one. Be using that in future, don't you, right? It's Bug, not particularly pleased.
Lush, mate, come on.
Bug's off Indy, number 11.
Yeah.
Well, he's made a bit of a meal of that, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But certainly an interesting decision. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Fag over the ball. Played short down the line for Moreno. Back for him. In for Muller, who's just been workmanlike as ever. Just gets the job done, Jordan Muller. I really like the way he plays his football. Cannon forward. Bounces, and Woodham will collect this with ease. Goes out to the right. Dash away. Rob picks it up for Malcolm, puts it back into the middle. Rob does well, picks it up again, gets inside. And Walsh now is to dash the other way. The former Red with a burst of speed. He's got plenty offering on. He takes it himself and finishes off with perfection. A superb solo goal from Dwayne Walsh. He had eyes only for the goal frame. And when he picked it up, we see it here. This is the start of his run.
What a goal. He's taken it to his own half. He's burnt them all off. Returned on his club. He's just burnt Price. The defender left for dead. He hit the post from a similar effort earlier. This time he got it just inside. 3-0 Zebras, 3 points Zebras, and a very accomplished display from Dwayne Walsh, who's been switched to the right wing in the second half. And you got to say, credit to Hay. It's really made a big difference for mine. He's been a real creative outlet for them.
Tremendous goal there from Dwayne Walsh. Just really just took the ball and just raced toward that goal and finished off with perfection. You could see he only had eyes for it when he picked it up inside his defensive half. He just took all the responsibility on himself. You can look silly doing that, but geez, it was a good finish. As it's driven along from Dyson, off the head of Conway, and it bounces out in front of Muller, and he just helplessly stretches out the boot. It bounces out of play. Throw in now for the Reds. Rich Heath to bring it back in. So now Clarence United, what are we, 3 games into the season? They've had 2 of their Englishmen miss games through suspension. Not what you want when you bring in these big players that are meant to play integral parts for you, especially when we've seen the quality of both of them. They've both been really, really good. Hallard started as a striker, being switched back to centre half, and he's been exceptional. I think Rich Heath's a touch of class in midfield that they need. But as play unfolds, it's a set-piece opportunity for the Reds. They might be able to just get a consolation goal here, as we really are in the dying embers of this game. It's driven long from Malcolm. It was nicely struck, but it's wide of the goal and out to the left, as we see this again from Malcolm. Wearing a 21, rarely see that worn by field players. It just rockets into the back fence behind the goal. Nicely hit though from Malcolm. They'll be looking to get a bit of run into his legs in the coming weeks and get him fit and firing, and he'll be an integral part of their lineup. It's that man now, Malcolm. Tries to get it by a couple, and then Toghill just whacks forward from right to left, switches it up. McKeown brings it down. Lovely work from McKeown. He's held up in the end a little bit too much, says Phillips. Maybe a set piece for the Zebras, as we really are just getting into the dying stages of this contest. It's been entertaining. Zebras over a dead ball out on the left.
So again, it'll be Sherman who's giving them all sorts of trouble with his set piece delivery. Curls this one, and Dyson does really well. Makes a good save to deny Sherman, who again really just like a trace of missile just launching it towards the net. His set piece delivery has been great today. Majorano picks out Moody, and then acrobatic effort. Oh, should have left it for Dyson. And they pay the full price. Big Moody launches it home to make it 4-0. That was Dyson's ball. He's kicked it out of his hands. Not cleared it convincingly at all. So we have a look at the replay. Acrobatics from McKeown, and yeah, not his best work there.
Aiken it was at the back.
Aiken,
had to leave it for Dyson. Dyson swallows that one and they clear for sure.
Well, Moody's been threatening to do that all day. Not shy of a surge into the opposition box. Loves to get up there. And 4-0 now, Zebras, which really paints the picture of the second half. They have been utterly dominant after a very tight first 45.
Yeah, they've been 4 goals better in this first half, but they certainly weren't in the first. As Malcolm weaves around, lays back for his defence in Price. Comes along from the defender. Picks out Rob, who's battled well with Toghill today. You'd probably give the honours to Toghill, though. There's Moreno, bobbles off his boot. Naden gets Rob involved, scoops over the top of that Zebra's defence. The height of Moody wings out, but Hedge keeping his honest. Pushes into the back of him, and it'll be a free kick for the Zebras. As we tick into 89 minutes. Yeah, really a shocker, you got to say, from Aiken. I'm sure Dyson wasn't too happy with him because he had his name on it. He could have swallowed that one and they would have prevented a fourth, but at the end of the day, all it is goal difference, because Clarenece United are not winning this game as it comes along. Off the dome of Huigsloot, and they gain some yardage down this right-hand side. Toghill now to throw in. To the edge of the box, finds Huigsloot. He looks to spin and fire off a shot. This one's blocked from Price. Conway misses his target, finds Hedge instead. Naden drops it off out onto the left, looking for Rob, and in the process he's chopped down by Sherman in midfield. It'll be a free kick for the Reds. As we get towards the very end of this one. Driven long into the box. And it's collected by Woodham straight to him. Rolled out from Woodham to Fag. Cut off by the Reds as it's with Naden. Holds it up to Malcolm. Pressure coming from Muller. He keeps a hold of it. Good Clarence midfielder. And it comes under the head of Toghill. Down for Walsh, nips by Malcolm and looks to run away, but the ball beats him. The line beats him, rather, as the ball races out of play.
So Toghill to take over. Drops it off for Morano. Plays it centrally for Muller. Been good today. He lays it back for Toghill. Toghill will go all the way back here for Fag. 4-0. They're comfortable now, Zebras. They were sluggish in the first half, but it's been a great showing in the second half. They have been at their very best, and it's simply been too much for Clarence. They haven't been helped by a couple of errors at the back. Here's Aiken But they've just been overwhelmed, you got to say, by a stronger side in the second half.
You're dead right, Drewster. A stronger, a better, a more experienced side when it comes to NPL football, and they've got the job done. The Zebras, Clarence United, I'll take a lot of positives out of that first half display, but it's just going to be disappointing and a bitter pill for Alan Jablonski to swallow that it was followed up with this second half. They've got a tough assignment next week with the Eastern Shore Derby up against Olympia. And with Hallard out, geez, it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, real blow that Hallard as the free kicks curled in commandingly away again from Moody. He's been outstanding today, Moody. Dominant at the back. Hasn't had a lot to deal with, but any sniff of a chance Clarence have had, Moody's been on and done some great work in the opposition area. Real physical powerhouse. Big Moody. And I'll tell you what, add Tyler Harrison back into the mix, and there's a fair stable of centre-backs the Zebras have got as of next week.
The issue is who to pick, because Fag for me's been playing some of the better football.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they go with. Certainly some options, not a bad headache for the manager to have, that's for sure. But how is he going to fit them all in? You've got Conway in there now, Morano on the bench today. Suddenly, a real deep squad emerging here at Zebras, and they're going to go 3 from 3, as Devonport and South Hobart have, so they've kept pace with their title rivals. And a good start to the season as the whistle blows here. The Luke Cripps Memorial Shield goes to Hobart Zebras. They were too good in the second half for Clarence, who fought really well in the first 45, but they were overwhelmed in that second half, and it's the Zebras who take the points today. Your best players, Gilly.
My best players in the moment, as we see the opening goal. It took some time to come, Drewster. It was Sam Conway off the bench who just burst down that left flank and ignited that attack, and McKeown finishes off as McKeown does. So we see the second goal. Huigsloot literally in a paddock by himself. I don't know how you leave Huigsloot by himself at back post, but that's what they did, and they were made to pay. And it was 2-0, and from there the game was beyond them. They had Hallard sent off, and then Dwayne Walsh just added a bit of insult to injury, dashing into the box, finishing off into the bottom left with what was a marauding run from the fullback come winger. And then right at the death, Moody added a fourth. It should have been swallowed by Dyson, but his defender didn't help him out. And Moody wrapped the boot around it. It came in like a tracer bullet. It made it 4-0 for the Zebras as they keep pace with title rivals Devonport and South Hobart, who recorded victories earlier today. A tremendous occasion here at Wentworth Park, their first home game of the season. A successful one off the field. A good win for the Zebras. They'll bank the 3 points and keep on marching. Next week, we'll be back here at Wentworth Park for another fascinating clash. The next one will be the Eastern Shore Derby. Not much love between this pairing, and I'm really looking forward to getting back here and sinking my teeth into that one, Drewster.
Yeah, you got to love some genuine vitriol between teams when there's a derby, and they don't come much more fiercer rivals than Clarence and Olympia. I'm wary every time I even say that word around this crowd. Certainly got to be careful around these parts.
I believe
Cracker.
I believe they're referred to as Warrain around these parts.
I
but
do believe that is how it's referred to here. So plenty of spice in that one for sure next week. The Clarence are going to need to do a lot better than they did in that second half today, because after a pretty strong first 45, they really fell apart, and really consistency is what they're going to need to get at this level. It's going to take some time before they can put it all together. The positives are there, but the Zebras just far too strong in that second 45 today.
Too strong in the second half, and a 4-0 win for the Zebras over Clarence United away from home. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage. We've enjoyed bringing it to you. Bye for now.